At 17:30 hours p.m., a lone Ukrainian jet slipping through one of the most dangerous air defense zones in the world and hitting a Russian-controlled dam that wasn't supposed to be reachable by anything with wings. No official report, no clear footage, just a sudden explosion of online whispers saying a MiG-29 had done the impossible. What made the rumor explode wasn't the strike itself. It was the detail that the alleged target wasn't a bunker or command post, but a dam quietly turned into a hidden supply highway, a target buried behind layers of radars, launch crews, and enough missiles to erase anything that entered the airspace. So if the story was even halfway true, the pilot didn't just take a risk, he walked straight into a zone where survival usually drops to zero. People kept asking the same question: if this mission actually happened, how did the aircraft even make it past the first radar sweep? And that single question is what sent the rumors spiraling across military channels, analyst threads, and late-night speculation streams. Because the more you look at the details being shared, the harder it becomes to tell whether this is pure myth or a story based on something far more real than anyone wants to admit. To understand why so many people think there might be truth buried inside the chaos, we need to start where the rumor first took shape. According to the rumor, the flight didn't just brush past danger, it plunged straight into a radar net designed to erase anything that dared to enter. The story claims the jet pushed into a zone layered with Russian surveillance arrays, each one built to cover the blind spots of the others like overlapping shields. Whether that's true or not, one thing is certain: Russia has spent years stacking its air defenses across occupied territory, turning wide stretches of land into invisible cages for anything flying too high or too slow. That's why this part of the rumor drew so much attention. The channels discussing it claim that 3 different systems supposedly locked onto the jet: an S-400, a Buk, and a Tor. A combination that would usually mean instant trouble for any aircraft trying to slip through. The idea wasn't far-fetched. These systems are often deployed together, watching the same sky from different angles, each one tuned for a different threat. One radar sweeps far and wide, another scans the mid-range, and the smallest one waits close to the ground like a guard dog that never blinks. What kept people hooked wasn't the claim itself, but how well it fit the real structure of Russian defenses. Military analysts pointed out that if a jet flew through an area packed with sensors, it wouldn't just be seen, it would be tracked, compared, and analyzed by multiple crews at once. Every sweep, every ping, every flicker on a screen would tighten the net around it. And if the rumors were even half accurate, this MiG supposedly flew right into that kind of crossfire. Some users argued that no pilot would intentionally push into overlapping engagement zones unless absolutely necessary. Others said that Ukrainian flyers have executed similar high-risk missions before, relying on terrain masking, perfect timing, and a little bit of luck. But the debate always circled back to the same point. If this jet really entered an area where an S-400 and a Buk could see it at the same time, the pilot wouldn't just be dodging missiles, he'd be fighting the entire architecture of Russian air defense. Still, the rumor insists the jet kept going, almost taunting the array of radars scanning for it. Whether that's bravado, exaggeration, or a piece of truth that slipped out too early, nobody can say for sure. But this part of the story set the stage for what came next. A flight path that supposedly dropped into terrain so low and so narrow that even the best radars would struggle to follow it. And according to the people pushing the rumor, that's exactly where the jet went next. Straight into the valley that transformed the entire mission. If the rumor is to be believed, this is where the flight stopped being a mission and became a dare against physics. The story claims the pilot dropped so low that the jet wasn't flying through the landscape, it was threading it. A MiG-29 carving through a river valley, hugging every bend and contour like the ground itself was pulling it forward. People who've followed the conflict long enough know that low-altitude runs aren't new, but the way this one was described made even seasoned watchers raise an eyebrow. The chatter said the aircraft was just meters above tree lines, slipping under radar beams that skimmed too high to catch anything crawling through the valley floor. And while radar can reach astonishing distances, it's still limited by something simple: terrain. Hills, ridges, and riverbanks can hide an aircraft the same way shadows hide a runner at night. It's a tactic Ukraine has relied on before. Stay low, move fast, and let the ground do half the protection. That's what made this part of the rumor feel believable. A jet racing through a narrow corridor isn't fantasy. It's a gamble pilots take when the alternative is being spotted and erased from the sky. What made the story stand out was the speed people claimed the aircraft was moving at. Posts mentioned numbers so high that only brute instinct and muscle memory could keep the jet from becoming part of the terrain. At those speeds, hesitation isn't a luxury. Power lines appear like ghosts. Hills rise faster than a human brain can calculate. A dip in the earth becomes a trapdoor that can swallow an aircraft whole, if the pilot misjudges the angle by even a fraction. But something about this run captured online attention. There were no claims of radar locks during this phase. The valley, according to the rumor, acted like a shield, blocking every attempt to get a clear read on the jet. Users argued that if this part was true, the pilot was effectively invisible. But only for a moment. Valleys don't last forever, and every low-level flight eventually meets open terrain where the ground stops protecting you. And that's why this section of the rumor carried a sense of countdown. The valley wasn't a sanctuary, it was a fuse. A temporary hiding place that would eventually end in a flat stretch of farmland rumored to be a perfect line of sight for multiple Russian defense systems. The closer the jet got to the edge, the louder the conversation became. People weren't just imagining the jet racing forward. They were imagining what would happen the instant it broke out of cover. And according to the story, that moment came fast, faster than anyone expected, and it changed everything. According to the rumor, the jet's cover vanished the moment it cleared the valley. 1 second it was concealed by the terrain, and the next it was flying over open ground with every major radar in the area able to see it clearly. The sudden shift from protected to exposed is exactly where low-altitude tactics break down, and that's what made this part of the story stand out. Users discussing the incident claimed the jet immediately drew attention from multiple Russian air defense systems. Whether accurate or exaggerated, analysts noted that once an aircraft enters flat, unobstructed terrain, tracking becomes far easier. Radars can paint a clean, stable path, and layered systems like the S-400 and Buk are built to exploit that moment. At the edge of the valley, with multiple radars locked on, the rumored pilot reportedly did something counterintuitive. He went straight up. Lighting the afterburners, the jet surged from near the ground into a steep vertical climb, trading speed for altitude in a matter of seconds. Analysts discussing the incident noted that a sudden vertical maneuver like this does two things. It makes targeting extremely difficult for missiles designed for predictable paths, and it maximizes the pilot's control over timing and release point. The climb wasn't just raw acceleration, the story emphasizes precise technique. The jet reportedly performed a tight barrel roll during ascent, constantly changing angles. For any tracking system, predicting the trajectory became nearly impossible. In this scenario, the rumor suggests the pilot gained just enough altitude to prepare the strike while staying in control, creating both chaos for the enemy and a window for the next phase of the mission. According to the circulating story, the jet reached the top of its climb, leveled for only a moment, and released a single precision-guided hammer bomb. Supporters of the rumor claim the weapon locked onto its target almost instantly, using its guidance system to begin a controlled descent toward the dam. The dam itself was said to be more than just a structure. Online discussions described it as a strategic crossing point, a quiet supply route used to move equipment under the cover of civilian infrastructure. That detail, unconfirmed but persistent, is one of the reasons the rumor drew so much attention. Posts analyzing the claim noted that a hammer bomb is designed for exactly this kind of mission: fast release, autonomous guidance, and the ability to hit hardened surfaces with accuracy. If the story holds any truth, the weapon would have guided itself through the final approach with minimal input from the pilot, giving him a brief chance to break away. Those spreading the rumor insist the bomb hit the dam directly, sending a shockwave through the area and disrupting the supply route almost instantly. But without verified footage or confirmed geolocation, the strike remains an unproven account. A dramatic conclusion supported only by fragments of online chatter. What made the rumor spread, though, wasn't certainty. It was the idea that one well-executed drop could change the flow of an entire region, leaving behind questions no one has fully answered. Immediately after the alleged strike, social media lit up. Posts showed purported drone footage, blurry images, and first-hand accounts all claiming the dam had been hit. Conflicting reports emerged, some suggesting massive structural damage, others insisting it was minimal. Analysts debated what could realistically happen in that scenario. Could a single hammer bomb take out a dam? Could one aircraft evade multiple SAM systems and escape unscathed? The lack of verified evidence fueled more speculation than answers. Military enthusiasts and experts dissected the event online. Satellite imagery, flight patterns, and missile engagement envelopes were all scrutinized, but nothing definitively confirmed the strike. The line between rumor and reality blurred. In the chaos, the one thing everyone agreed on: if even a fraction of the story were true, it would represent a high-stakes operation, daring, precise, and dangerous. The alleged strike became a story about more than a dam. It became a lesson in uncertainty, showing how quickly information, verified or not, can ripple across the globe. Whether the strike actually happened exactly as reported, or it's a mix of rumor and exaggeration, one thing is clear: it captures the imagination. A lone jet, a high-value target, and a maze of radars and missiles, it's the kind of story that feels cinematic, even if reality is murkier. For military analysts, it's a case study in precision, risk, and the limits of technology. For the public, it's a reminder of how fast information spreads and how difficult it can be to separate fact from fiction in the fog of war. At the end of the day, the dam may have stood, or it may have fallen, but the story, real or not, will continue to fuel debates, speculation, and awe for years to come.